trying to we're trying to stream to Weir, as in the royal we. Trying to stream to X today. Let's see. Oh, it says right there. Okay, cool. Oh, sweet! It already tweeted. Oh, nice. All right. That's pretty sweet, actually. I don't know. I don't have to actually manually tweet. That's pretty sick. Okay, that's pretty cool. All right, let me see. Videos, stream manager. All right, sweet. Okay, but I won't be looking at Twitter, so sorry if anyone's watching. Sorry. All right, so I was looking at this yesterday, but I kind of want to go over it again. So this is leptos, and it's something, you know. It's a lot. I don't know. I think like I'm not actually sure about this. It just seems like a lot, and I'm not like. Wait, can I like turn up the? Oh. Yeah. Well, I don't really care about that. Let's turn this up. There we go. So it is cool. Like if I go over to leptos and I go to is there like an islands example? There, right here. This one. Let's just clone this. It is sweet. Oh, also, yeah, I got the kinesis. I'm not sure if I'm sold on it. There's a lot. Alright, let's go leptos. Let's look at the example, right? We'll go to examples. What is it, like islands? Hacker News Islands or something? There we go. Let's just open that up, actually. Let's just go examples. Whoops. No, this is not me typing on the kinesis, by the way. This is not, that's not what it is. Let me see. Hacker News Islands Axum. Okay. Man, it's so nice when no one's here because I can just do whatever I want. So good. Let's see. What else do we have here? Okay, so let's start with lib. Right? Yeah. This is also like what I am trying not to do. I almost think putting it all in the same file, I don't know. It's a lot. So let's look at the cargo toml, I guess. Right? Let's look at examples. Hacker News Islands. I almost want to look at it as its own thing, right? Islands, cargo. Okay, so I was wondering about this. I was like, how do they get away from doing the dynamic library thing, but they don't? There's actually a different thing, which I don't even know what this is. What is this? Yeah, I don't really understand what that is. Okay, let me see. LTO, okay, dependencies, blah, blah, blah. Oh, you know what? Okay. Router, oh, jeez, a lot. Oh. Alright, let's see. So now we've got wow. Dioxys does have islands. There's like a PR, but leptos, it seems like it's further along, right? All right. But yeah, wow, that's a lot of stuff. This cargo, it just keeps going. Ooh, all right. Let's see. I haven't actually done leptos, but I was kind of curious about it. Mostly because I stole their view macro, but I just output to strings. And then I kind of saw this thing, and I was like, what is this? So leptos has taken two distinct approaches to rendering. This is back in October, right? GBJ, Greg Johnston. the BDFL, benevolent dictator for life for leptos. But yeah, I did see this and I was like, oh, they're doing a lot of stuff. The 0 render was built on pure HTML templating. The view macro then worked like the template macro does, or like solid, view, vapor, or svelte 5. Compiling your view to 3 things. A template element, which I think is what Dioxys does, then cloned wherever you need to create the view. A series of DOM node traversals that walked over the clone tree. A series of create effect calls that set up the reactive. It's all just that alone, right? Just the 0.0 render is like way more than I've ever even thought about this. Wait, what? For the title? Wait, what?
Impressive.
Oh, shoot.
Very nice.
Merlin Drew. What? What is happening? I love how there's only one person that got this up. 11 total. Merlin Drew. Come on now. Come on. Oh, is that still the title? Shoot. Was that still the title? Oh, is that the, that was like the stream? I thought it was a different thing. I thought it was like Leptos Islands, right? Was it, did I not do it right? Let me see. Oh, you saw that. Oh, yeah. Oh, the notification title. Yeah. Dang it. Let me see. What did I do? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true. I do think that, I feel like there is like a AI fatigue. And I've been fatigued for a little while because I got into it really early. Like I was trying Copilot like when it first came out, and I was like, Copilot. Yeah, I'm just gonna not do that. It's gonna be good. Actually, you know what? Maybe I should do something like this. Should I do this? Is that better? Is there less of an echo? Oh, it's about the same for me. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sold on it. But not even Copilot. Like, I think the GitHub Copilot integration is going to be better, and that's more like what I want. Is like make a pull request and like do the thing. Like, don't come into my editor. Okay, don't come into my house. All right. And try to tell me how to live. Ordaz, what's up? I want to get into game dev, but IDK. Yeah, me too. Like, game dev just seems like so much more fun. And honestly, the only like successful project I've ever had outside of work. Okay, very successful at work. All right, very successful. But yeah, the only was games. It was games. Like, that's it. Game dev is too hard. Check out Comfy RS. Comfy and MacroQuad are easy enough. Yeah, that's what I use MacroQuad. Yep. Bev, you mentioned? What is Comfy RS? I haven't heard of that one. Oh, cool. Let's look. They use eGUI for the fun 2D game engine. Yeah, no, I'm definitely a 2D game developer for sure. Let me see. Fun 2D game engine. Okay. Why Comfy and not X? Before the work series fruits and music, notably, oh my goodness, classic game dev lingo, you know. Let me see. Comfy and MacroQuad. MacroQuad's coordinate system is top left, Y down, center, Y up. Interesting. I know. If I get into games, though, I'll probably just wind up making a game engine, like a classic Rust dev would, right? Their website is baller. It uses RefCell and globals. Yeah, that's a huge plus because easy. I don't need runtime perf. I need dev time perf. Oh, totally. Yeah, I mean, I like Rust for like if there was if we had Gleam, but if everything was either auto reference, so like if borrow by reference was the default, or if like clone was the default, right? I think move, there's like the three, right? I think move being the default is like the one thing where I'm like, shoot, if I could change this, I would. But yeah, my ideal language would be like Gleam, or clone. Yeah, it could be clone by default, but like then you need a GC, right? Then or you need Arc all the time, like Swift, right? Clone by default, yeah. I mean, to me, it seems like it'd be reference by default, right? Then you can get your memory stuff. Yeah, is that? Oh, is Arc is fine? Yeah, it's true. I mean, RAM is like for Mac people, RAM is super expensive, but for everyone else, RAM is really cheap. Like I've been watching DHH do his Linux thing, and I'm just like, oh shoot, like RAM is really cheap. I think he got like 96 gigs of RAM for like $200 or something, and I was like, oh, I've been living in the Apple universe where like the unified memory is like super expensive. Yeah, Arc. Oh, Arc is you can opt out. Yeah, it's true. That's true. Yeah, like I don't want a GC necessarily. Like I'd rather have Arc and clone by default, and then I'd also just. But I like everything else about Rust, I guess. Right? I want opt-outable RCing by default would be perfect length. Yeah, yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean it's like Swift, right? But I actually don't like Swift syntactically. Like there's something wrong with Swift where I'm like, what is off about this, right? Like, just make Rust Swift or make Swift more like Rust and we'll be good. But yeah, I mean it's not even about the syntax. If they get rid of the orphan rule, this could be possible. No. What is the orphan rule? Move by default makes sense in Rust for embedded. Yeah, that's true. That's true. At least clone by default will be. Wait, you gotta what is the what is the orphan rule? Merlindry, tell everyone what the orphan rule is because I don't know what it is. Oh, did you want to see the kinesis, by the way? Rust and kinesis, by the way. Is that you can't impl for types? Oh yeah, that is. It's funny. It's funny because like it's why my tweet didn't work. Wait, what? Oh yeah, the clone thing, right? The clone copy thing. Yeah. Yeah, it's hilarious. But you can the trick to that is like you always have to wrap the what is it called, the new type method, where you like wrap the thing. So like if I'm here, so like let's say we've got all this, right? So you've got like you're trying to impl a trait, right? You got like a trait, and you're trying to like impl the trait for something that doesn't exist in your not this, you can do this, but like a type that's outside of your thing. Like let's say this is in some other crate, right? This is the orphan rule for anyone who cares. So here's your trait. Some other crate, right, has a type like A, right, or a struct like A, and then so you want to like impl render for A. This is your crate. You can't do this, right? You have to instead make struct B first that wraps A, and then you could do it, right? And then so this would take like self, right? And then you would do something like this. It returns a string, and now you could do a render self, right? Which would then give you. Then now you can call self dot 0, right? Because that's what A is. It's pretty funny, honestly. It's a pretty fun pattern. It's a hilarious pattern. It's the ride guy, Coldflow. Coldflow will not you just will not let up. Like honestly, there's an intense amount of trolling happening. Like it's almost overwhelming, you know. But they might fix this. Saw some comments on it from a wrestling maintainer on Reddit. Informal though, the rude guy. It's true, rude and ride. I was honestly thinking about calling it rude. To tell you the truth. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's true. We are gonna ride. We're gonna ride a little bit. But today I'm looking at leptos. I'm looking for like ideas like that are better than mine for stuff. So like, I mean, there's really two ways to like solve the front end, back end like mismatch thing, right? The first way, well, there's three ways. The first way is to abandon stateless HTTP altogether, right? Like we're done with that. We're just gonna do live view, right? The second way is HTMX, which keeps the statelessness, but it's like awkward, and you have to have like full stack JS. Dude, cold blood. Cold blood. Yeah, we're not gonna do that. You know, that is banned here. All right, that word is banned. That's not even a word. That term is banned. Live view, Ryan. What's up, Ryan Winchester? TV, Elixir. Yeah, I mean, live view is good, but the only problem is the WebSockets, right? It's stateful. You like totally abandon the statelessness of the web app model, right? Try an Elixir right meow. Oh my gosh, Elixir's hot again. Is that what's happening? Elixir's hot. So there is the live view way, right? And then there's the HTMX way. Elixir mentioned. And then there's I mean, look, hey, his ZD. Look, if you're gonna try out Elixir right meow, you gotta try out Dioxys live view. Okay? Dioxys live view is the best live view. Okay? Where do I go? What am I doing here? Is this old? Am I looking at old Dioxys? I am. How did this become the thing, right? Okay, let's go here, live view. Okay, so what's really cool about Dioxys live view? Look at how simple this is, right? So you come in here, you make a function, and it has like a signal, and you do like an on click, right? And then what happens is you just do all this stuff, right? And this runs on the server. Like this right here is running on the server, right? It's really cool. This is like so simple. It's better. Like it's better than Phoenix Live View is like a weird combination between like templates and like, oh, I now have to like do my weird PHX like template thing or whatever. I don't know. It's strange. But this just feels like programming, you know? It feels like, oh yeah, like I'm doing good stuff, you know? I do write Rust mostly, so that is tempting. Yeah, it is tempting. You're right. Seems like the most practical option. Well, there's a third option, right? I got to bounce. Have a nice stream. Yeah, Merlindrew. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay. Appreciate the sub. Lies. Functions building HTML is the worst thing. Versus templating. But you're always writing functions though. Templating is functions. I want my UX team to be able to do the UX work. Like incremental adoption and stuff. Oh yeah, I mean there is incremental. That's true. But so HTMX, like the attributes. But the problem with HTMX is that it doesn't solve. What if I want to do like Canvas or like other front endy stuff, right? So now you're stuck, right? Now you have to introduce. They have to introduce what is hilarious to me is HyperScript, right? You gotta come in here with HyperScript. That's gonna solve our problems. The thing I like about Phoenix is the easy connection between the DB and the front end. Yeah, well, Dioxys has that as well, right? That's what I'm trying to say. Is like all your functions just run on the back end, so you can just do all your database stuff. Rust with DBs is okay, but the WebSocket stuff is harder. Well, not with Dioxys Live View, right? Wait. His ZD. Have you not seen this DB macro that I wrote? Are you serious? You think Rust with DBs is okay? Dude, we've gone way beyond. Okay, SQL. Or we've gone way, here, look him. Look, so this is what I'm talking about. We've gone beyond this, right? You look at this, oh, like, you know, it's some ORM or something, right? I don't even know. How do I even get to where is the button? There's not even a button for this. Projects? Oh, here we go. So you're thinking like, oh, like, this is what Rust SQL is, right? Which is like insane. I love I'm glad everyone has their own thing. I don't like this personally. This is bad, right? Like to me, this is bad. But everyone has their own opinions, right? Some people love this probably, right? It's like JSORMs. Yeah, this is bad. But okay, so this is what I've been working on. All right, we've gone way beyond that. All right, we're past the point of no return. All right, we have achieved database enlightenment. All right, look at this. That's it. So this macro that I wrote, you give it an ident, right? and you cast it to something, so it makes this dynamically, right? So this ident here becomes a function, and this SQL is check to compile time for like stuff. It's check to compile time for stuff, and then this also becomes a struct. So and you can use this same struct here, right? So you can do anything in SQL that you want, and it just is a function that you call. So like here's an example of how you call it, right? So like this would be like a migration, right? So you call DB, so you have a DB function now. So that macro made it a DB function, right? Too much magic. The LLM people are taking our jobs, okay? There's not too much magic. We need more magic. All right, so you have this DB function, right? And you have this DB function, you pass in your database URL, and then you call the ident that you made, right? So like create to-dos, for example. And then here's how you get them all, right? So like here's this, and you can go to definition on this, right? So like here, if I open this as like a real thing, let's open this as a real thing. Examples DB. Okay. So I come down here, right? Oh, do I not have the .m stuff in here? Oh, it doesn't matter, whatever. Maybe I should actually get pull. Is that a thing? Can I do that? Oh, shoot. All right. So I come in here, right? So like here, I just jump to that, right? So here you can see db.todos, right? So here is how simple it could be, right? This is how simple life could be, okay? If we just did the right thing. All right, it dynamically casts the type. You don't have to define the to-do. No, you do not. You do not have to define the to-do. So yeah, all this, so like this is just saying like this is optional as well, right? If you don't give it this, it'll just make a struct that's the same name as this ident, right? We are moving quickly, okay? We're moving swiftly. We're moving very, very fast, all right? We're not gonna define structs. This is what you normally have to do. Struct to do. Okay, we're deserialized. Oh, we need ID I64. No. We're not doing any of this. No, we're done with that. All right. This creates the struct. This uses this struct, and it knows when you do returning asterisk to use these fields. So you're defining structs from SQL, right? Maybe I didn't make that clear before, but so you take this ID column, this content column, and this created at, and it knows what type. So like integer in SQLite is like I64. This is a string. This is it, I64, right? And since this is not null, right? It knows that it's not an option, right? But if you gave it a null column, it would be an option. So yeah, you could do whatever you want, right? And then it just knows to like use the thing. So like here, delete. I don't actually have to cast, right? Because there's nothing. If I look at the usage for this, I'm never using it, so like who cares, right? But if I gave this the thing, it would like return the thing. But so you could see here that the LSP already knows that it's U size. But if I came down here and I went returning ID, right? Then I ever went back, right? Then it would say option delete to do. Do you see how it changed that? So like the type just changed because I changed some SQL, right? Magical, okay? We're in magical land. I'm a functional bro. This is pretty tempting. Too much magic. Cold float, no. How does this parse SQL and generate types? Can you convert to do to say CSV? Do you pass it around or what? Can I convert to do to CSV? Do I pass it around? I don't understand what that means. I don't get what you're saying. But yes, I guess. Like you'd have to do that manually, I guess. Wait, what? Cold flow, I don't understand what why would that be sick? Can I convert to say CSV? I want to know what this means. But yeah, so if I come back down here and I say whatever, right? Let's just delete that. We'll go back, right? So how does it do it? Oh, you want to see the macro? We can go through it. We can go through the macro. We talking about macros again? Oh shoot! I'm just saying. I swear. Anyway, yeah, so the way it works is it uses the SQL parser crate to do the thing. So there's like 3 functions that I made, right? So like here, I basically turn the tokens into, I like do the parsing. And then here I'm like trying to have like a representation of like, is it like an optional return? Is it blah, blah, blah? And then here I'm actually like writing the Rust code. So like here you can see that I did this thing to get it to, there's a trait that you can impl on RU SQLite's connection type. Look, no, I don't know if anyone's actually into this, okay? Let's just at the surface level, all you have to do is you write SQL and it makes types for you, all right? That's the thing. That's it. But yeah, I don't know what this means. This is 5-head? Yeah, I know. It might be 5.5 head. You never know. You usually use a macro to parse your to-do struct that you can apply more traits to your to-do. Okay. Can you link the repo? So glad you asked. Okay, so glad you asked. Oh man, so nice. Anyway, we gotta look at I got off track. All right, I like types. Bluebeam just comes in here. I also like types. You know, I also like types. All right, what was I doing? I got so derailed. We're looking at leptos. All right, we're looking at leptos. I'm over here trying to look at leptos. And this is my bad. No, it's all good. It's fun writing types and structs. Oh my gosh. All right. Look, at least I'm not talking about AI, okay? What do you guys want? Do you guys want to talk about types and structs? Or you want to talk about AI, okay? Then you can keep an AI count. Like, did you watch that? Oh my gosh. Did you watch that dumb? I don't want to say it's dumb. Did you watch that Vercel event yesterday? I don't want to say dumb. That's bad. I don't want to say that. Vercel. People love Vercel. I think. And I tried to watch that keynote. And if you are a business in the United States, it is a requirement by law that you mention AI at least 20 times in every presentation that you have. Otherwise, you get sent off to jail because you didn't provide enough value for your shareholders. Okay, that's just how it is. It's just there's a new law on the books, and that's all you can do, right? You just got to do AI. Just admit that it's dumb. AI SQL to types. Oh shoot, Bluebeam. We're cooking now, dude. We're cooking. You could say that. Oh, okay. They're on their villain arc. People do, yeah. Some people like Vercel, right? AI tax companies now. Coldflow, there's AI everything companies, all right? Literally. Every time I just zone out and start nodding along. Yeah, me too. It's bad. Yeah, so that's why I'm not going to talk about AI, all right? But yeah, I watched the Vercel thing, and there was someone with a AI count. They were like counting how many times they said AI. I thought that was funny. All right, so what am I doing here? Okay, so let me just go through this. So the leptos guy, right? Greg Johnston. He did this. This is like the first pass. Oh, what was the third? There was a third thing syncing between front end and back end. It was live view HTMX, and the third thing is this like islands thing, which is similar to HTMX, but it's like it's like automatically doing like because in HTMX you like have pointers basically, right? You have like a attribute, and it says, okay, I'm gonna point to this string that is a route, and then this route is going to be called with some function, and then HTML is going to be returned, right? So it's pointers, right? So this islands thing is like automatic pointers, and islands is not new, right? But I think the approach that Leptos takes is like really cool, and that's kind of but it's a lot of effort, right? That's what kind of what I wanted to go through is like, this is insane. Like, this is crazy that he's thought of all of this, because I always think like, oh, okay, I'm gonna have like a macro, right? And the macro is just gonna like return a string. That's like here, right? This to do thing. So I have some Rust code, and then here's an HTML macro, and it just like returns a form, and this is like mostly a string, right? And then if there's a component, that's just a function call that returns a string. And I'm like, sweet. So that's kind of what they did. They tried to like separate the strings in the static HTML from like the dynamic HTML, but like it didn't really work that well. Yeah, actually, you know what, Coldfoot, I did try to get it to do it, right? But it didn't, you know? I'm just a zero shot kind of person. And if it doesn't happen on the first try, it's not going to work out for me. I can't, the LLM needs to do it zero shot. Otherwise, it's useless. All right, so anyway, this, what they've done here is they did like a lot of good stuff, right? Smaller WASM binaries, blah, blah, blah. Extremely fast, lightweight server-side rendering because of the strings. Lots of bugs, blah, blah, blah. And then, so like this idea of like going from view macro to like builder is different to me. Like I hadn't thought of that. I was like, oh, I'll just dump it to a string, right? But it is true though. Like if I had to do more stuff with whatever came out of the macro and it was all in the inside of it, there's no way that I could like do, oh, this actually was solved, right? This is great because like if I do something like this, right, then it automatically formats, which is really sweet. Which probably could have been fixed incrementally. I've come to think there was a fundamental limitation with this approach. Not only did it mean writing much of the framework's rendering logic in a proc macro, which is really hard to debug. No, that's not true. Doing it in a proc macro meant that we need to do all that without access to type information. Oh, that's true. Look, this is the downside. Okay, this is the dark side of proc. I always talk about macros like they're the best thing ever, which they are. Okay, which they don't get it twisted. Okay, they are the best thing ever. But the downside is that you can't know the type that is true because it's tokens in, tokens out, right? So like here is what he's talking about, right? Like if you have some type, which is a string slice, and then you have, now you're inside this macro, from inside of here, you don't know what B is, right? Like it's just a token, right? Like you don't even know what this value, you just know this, right? That's all. Well, actually this is a static str, but if this was some dynamic variable, you wouldn't know what it is, right? So here you just see B. That's all you see. Like all you know is it's an ident called lowercase b. And you're like, what is this? I don't know. What are we gonna do with it? I guess we're just gonna like stick it here. The view macro has no idea whether A is a string, or even though it's B, or a component invocation, or yeah. This caused many of the early bugs and meant that we needed additional comment markers and runtime mechanisms to prevent issues. Yeah, that is true. No, it's definitely like a sharp edge, which I have not taken care of in Ride at all. Ride is just like, dude, Ride is ride or die. You know what I mean? Oh, DMT. We've never been so back, okay? We've never been so back. Compile time reflection would be so lit. 100% lit. Let B equals B. It's not good. It's not good. Just use Bevy. They have more macros than leptos. Dude. The more macros, the better. That's what I say. All right. So yeah. So now the render in leptos 0.5, right, is largely the outstanding work of Jay Quesada, 2016, and me, collaborating to address those issues. They replaced the old view macro with a more dynamic render. There's now a view type that's an enum of different possible views. Type erasure by default. Type erasure by default with input into view. Yeah, I'm not really like, I just like to have it say component or element or node or something. I don't really like into view. Much better support for fragments. Most of our growth has and success over the last 6 months was unlocked by this rewrite. The view macro expands to a runtime builder syntax for elements. Okay. Much better Rust analyzer and syntax hiding support in the view. Pure Rust builder syntax. Yeah, that's what I think I might actually wind up doing. Like, because I wrote a quick thing called Riz. Oh, not Riz. Sorry, not Riz. I wrote what did I call that stupid? I don't even know what I called it. What did I call? What did I call it? I don't even remember. I've written so many dumb projects. Oh, it's hyped. It's hyped, right? That's what it is. Let me see. Hyped. Okay, so I wrote this thing, and honestly, it's not bad, but I think it was holding Ride back a little bit because I don't think people like this, right? As a Lisp person, all right, like I like this. The more parens, the better, all right? But I don't think a lot of people like this. So yeah, this is cool because it uses macros on the back end to do multiple tuples. So this part is like the worst part of it, but also the best part is if you come down here. First of all, there's a lot of this, but then second, you can use a macro to like make the macro. So dTalne or somebody has like a seek macro crate. And so this is the secret, right? Is that if you want to render, if you want to do tuples in Rust that are like unlimited length, so here I did up to 31, right? So you can have a seek macro that impulse the render trait for tuples, and this literally, if this was expanded, it would look like a triangle, like a pyramid, like a sideways pyramid, and it would literally be like 0, 1, 2, 3, like how many elements there are, right? It's dirty. Look, I'm not gonna say this is nice. All right, it's definitely some of the worst stuff I've ever done. All right, but it's cool. All right. Give me HTML or give me death. Yeah, exactly. Poor man's Elm. Yeah. It was supposed to be called Riz. I remember that conversation. Yeah, Bluvian. That's true. It was. Yeah, it was supposed to be called Riz. But it was taken on crates, right? But yeah, this was the old thing that I did, which I'm moving pretty quickly through, like all the little stuff. I'm trying everything to see like what feels good. And I don't think this was the right way to go. I think what I've done with Ride, with like SQL at compile time generating structs and functions, is like much better. Yeah. Dynamically sized tuples? No, they're not dynamically sized. They are implemented. Whoops, what am I doing? Oh, geez. Oh my gosh, I just closed the whole thing. No, they are implemented. We have it so that the music got really slow and I got more calm. That's interesting. There's some control over my mood here. No, they're not dynamically sized tuples. They are statically sized still, but I used the seek macro to loop through and implement the trait for tuple size 0, tuple size 1, tuple size 2, 3, so on, right? But you can't tell because like you can't tell in the code because it's just these two blocks here, right? Look, I don't think this is a good idea, all right? I don't think this is a good idea. Like, I got this from RUI, right? Like, I looked at RUI and I thought, oh, that's cool. And I was like, I wonder how they do the tuple stuff. Because, so this is what it would look like, right? If I didn't use that seek macro, right? So here you could see pretty clearly that like impl view tuple, so I'm sorry. Impl view tuple is implemented for one element, and then it's implemented for 2, and then it's implemented for 17, right? Here we go, and then you also have to implement it for you know, it just you know, it depends how many things you want in your tuple, right? It just like if you want 128, you have to you have to go, and then it has to go this way, right? So then you gotta go over here all the way to the there we go. We reached it. We solved the problem. But it does enable like some sorry. It does enable some pretty cool stuff. So I got away with that with the seek macro thing, the seek macro crate. But it is really cool looking. Like if you look at RUI, it's like really sweet. So like here's what I was talking about. So like here's the tuple, and like here or tuple, Here's the tuple. What do you say? Am I American? Okay, so here's like the first. This is like that third. So here's 3 elements in the tuple, or 2, right? So that was just the first 2. But you can put 128 things in here before the compiler complains, which is, I don't know. I mean, is that good? I've seen decoders like this. Yeah. Spotify has taken over your mind. It's true. Ash does a few things. Are we talking about Elixir right now? Are we talking about Elixir? Ash is what I'm trying right now. I don't want to talk about Ash. All right, we can talk about Ash. Let's see. Strike Vulture coming in here. Look, hey, code is not, it's not always clean, you know? There's not always nice abstractions, all right? You gotta do what you gotta do. We solved the problem, yeah. Yeah, we solved it, all right? I saw you sent membrane. Oh my gosh. Why use a Rust macro when you can use a NeoVim macro? Big fat brain. 40 chess. Honestly, 40 freaking chess. All right, so let me see. We'll look at Ash in a second, but I do want to get through this as I close this. All right. So let me see. Okay, so where was I? Oh yeah. Pure Rust builder syntax. I got sidetracked again. I sidetracked myself. Increased runtime flexibility, much more robust, fewer weird panics. Believe it or not, I believe it. Let's see. Larger WASM binary sizes because it's enum based. You basically need to handle any possible case at runtime for any dynamic element, which not only starts off larger but continues to scale up over time. We can limit monomorphization somewhat, but it's still a measurable difference. CFG hell and leptos DOM trying to support SSR hydration. Yeah, this is my main problem with not live view in Dioxys. Live view in Dioxys is like everything happens on the server. So effectively what you're doing is you're serializing all JS events over the wire, like you're just sending them over the WebSocket, right? And you're saying like, oh, we'll just put loading in between. That's perfect. We'll just say, oh, we're loading now. You click this button, we're loading. You typed a key, yeah, we're loading. We're loading now. So yeah, I mean that's the opposite is like CFG hell. It's so true. Like that was the one thing where I was like, oh, this is not great, right? And they got away with it. Like in Dioxys 0.5, it's a little better because you have like the API is like better. You have server functions and all this stuff. But Leptos Islands is like that's kind of what I want for Ride because like you basically annotate all functions that are components, and then now you can like pass. I'll get to it in a second. Let's see. Transport alongside blah blah blah. Leptos DOM is easier for us to debug, blah blah blah, but still pretty hard. Need for individual per element hydration IDs as component markers. We're not walking the DOM anymore. Okay. Which makes SSR slower and HTML responses larger. Weird bugs around document fragments and discrepancies between debug and release mode, which is one of the reasons why I also like HTMX is because like if you just link it with strings that are easily serializable, it doesn't matter. And if you just write Rust to WASM and you run that sort of as a separate file, and now you can like do HTMX on the client, right? So like the biggest problem with HTMX is like going back to the server for some things, but if you can just go to the client, it's good. Which is another reason why I like Islands is because the HTMX attributes are kind of limiting, and the idea that you have to jump out of hypermedia land into hyperscript land, like it bugs me more than it should. Like honestly, it bothers me. Like the idea of like switching paradigms, like not even like languages, like switching a whole like this is declarative to we are not declarative anymore. We're not in declarative land anymore. Like it's kind of annoying. And I feel like it slows down like what would otherwise be a really productive way to make applications. So yeah. Let's see. This approach basically works. If I never changed it, things would be fine. It's kind of hard to maintain. There are some weird edge cases that I've sunk hours into to no avail. It's kind of chunky. The HTML is a little gross, but it's all fine. So let's rewrite it. I love that. Like, look, Greg Johnson is my spirit brother from another mother. Okay, I love it. Like, yeah, this works great. Yeah, it's incredible. If I didn't change it, it'd be amazing. Let's rewrite. Do you know how many times I've rewritten the ride stuff? Like it's everyone else is fine with Rails and Laravel, and everyone's having a great time. Like, oh, the JS ecosystem is fine. I can npm install anything I want. Everyone's having a good time. Like, but not me. I'm like, no, I need to do it in Rust. Like, I need to rewrite the same thing over and over again. I don't know what's wrong with me. Like, why can't I just love everything like everyone else does, right? Everyone's over here in Elixir land like, no, Phoenix is fine. Like, I don't feel like anything. I'm just like, no, it could be better. Yeah, I don't know. It's a personal problem. This song is sidetracking you, so full of entropy. It's true. All right. What was I doing? Oh yeah. The future of leptos rendering, right? Or the future of rendering in general, right? I've been extremely inspired by the work being done on Xylem and Ralph Levine's talk on it. I'm also totally uninspired. For context, really good talk. Yeah, I did see Xylem, and it's really cool. I feel like this is a much simpler introduction to the idea. Concoct is a reactive runtime for embedded systems. So the idea is you have like a task and like the app itself or the system itself, right? Beam forever. Look, the Beam... Yeah, Beam is cool, but it's from the 80s, right? Is that Sony? Is it Ericsson from the 80s? So I feel like Beam, the ideas are sound, but we can do better, right? Like we can today in 2024 we can do better, right? I still Beam is still cool. Late 80s, yeah. I mean, it's Beam is like, I mean, even the name is like really cool, right? It's pretty cool, but I think coupling the runtime to, I wish I could like take it or leave it, I guess, right? It's like such a little thing, but yeah. All right, so this is what you do: task from function, and you're doing something, and you return the task, right? And then from here, you like sort of wrap it in your system. You wrap your function in your system with like some initial state, right? And then you just you only have two functions, build and rebuild, right? Which is really cool. I think that's what Greg was talking about here. The Xylem architecture, in my reading, tries to address two pieces of the UI question. How do we build up a view tree to render stuff natively or in the DOM? And how do we drive changes to that view tree, right? But we can't, but nobody's doing it better. Riot NoCal might hit a sweet spot there. Rewrite Beam. Yeah, I mean, there's Lunatic in Rust, right, which is similar, I guess, right? Erlang inspired for WebAssembly, and I think this is something that I'm kind of watching, and I'm kind of like, this is cool, right? There's no code on here, but I guess what are you gonna do? Create distributed, yeah. WebAssembly runtime inspired by Erlang, right? Let's see, getting started. Can I look at this? What does it look like? Oh, here we go. So like you do this, right? And like instead of Tokyo, like now you have this whole runtime. And like this is kind of what I like. I do like this, and like you even have a little mailbox, right? You even have the actor stuff or whatever, the message stuff. And they even call it like a process, right? So you like spawn like a new process and like you have a task. And then you could like wait, right? There's like a thing, and like you could send it things. It's pretty cool. But I like the Beam. I like Gleam because it's statically typed. Erlang is kind of not great. Elixir's a little better, but it's still, I would just stick to writing Ruby. If I wasn't gonna switch, I wouldn't switch to Elixir, right? WebAssembly is meh. Green threads with no colored functions, yeah. Green threads could be. I like green threads better. I like Go's model better, I think, than the Beam. Can you make something with it, maybe? Maybe. I don't know. I'm on the DOM. Like, I'm trying to solve this. I want this islands. Like, I want islands in my ride, okay? I want to bring islands into ride somehow, and I need to learn this first. But then I'll get to the stuff. But honestly, like, to me, like, Tokyo is not great. like syncing across work stealing schedulers across threads makes everything so complicated. I'd rather use like Mon.io, right? Which is TikTok's thing, right? Mon, is that what it's called? Rust? Is that what it's called? Yeah. Mono.io, right? Yeah, it's a ByteDance's thing, right? So yeah, that's cool. ByteDance in Singapore? That's Singapore? No, ByteDance? What? I thought it was in China. All right, let me see. Mono.io, a thread per core, right? So this is like more like what I want, right? Thread per core Rust runtime. And then you don't need, you don't need to worry about tasks being sender sync, right? So Mono.io is that is what I really want, and it's built on IOU ring as well, which is really cool, or KQ for Mac people. Okay, whatever. We're gonna skip this song. I do not like this. How long have I been streaming for? I lost track of time. How long has it been? Oh, 50 minutes? Okay, yeah, I gotta go in like 10 minutes. To use Mono.io, you need Rust 175, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, this is cool. Like, I like this because you don't need to do all the stupid stuff you do in Tokyo, right? I think people's complaints about async Rust are actually Tokyo complaints, not async Rust complaints. .NET Aspire, you guys? What in the world is that? I don't even know what that is. Go adopted preemptive scheduling. They were co-op when I was considering Go versus Elixir, but still shared memory. Yeah, that is, yeah. Each Elixir process has its own, yes, and its own GC, yes. You can, yeah, I understand. I get it. Not stop the world GC. Hot code and module reloading Etsy. Yeah, I get it, right? I understand like the Beam like superpowers. I understand, right? It's just it doesn't like fit my mental model of like programming, I guess, right? So there's like two ways to solve it, right? The Beam solves it by like letting it crash, right? Let it fail, right? Rust solves it by like, we're never gonna fail, right? We're gonna do everything at compile time up front, and everything returns a result, handle every error case, right? And it works. Honestly, like the Rust model, I was skeptical, but honestly, like I write much, much better code in Rust. I sunk too much time in Axum. I can't let go of that. Yeah. Oh, C# distributed apps. Yeah. But Elixir works too. I mean, I'm sure the Beam works too, right? Like let it fail. Like it's fine, right? Gleam has a result type and gets to use Beam, which seems pretty sweet. Yeah, no, Gleam is cool, right? But the thing about the Beam versus Rust thing is like the Rust way gives you, it takes away the GC and the runtime, and it does all this other crazy stuff. So now if I'm on Beam, I'm like stuck with like a Rails, like a Rails-ish kind of like high memory usage, right? Which I was trying to get away from. Like I'm trying to get away from high memory. I'm trying to do low memories, right? And so Rust gives me low memory usage, and it gives me all this cool stuff, right? Joe wrote a paper on this. You can't say it will never fail. Hardware fails, networks fail. That's true. No, that's true. I have been Elixir being curious. Yeah. No, yeah, Gleam is like the sweet spot, I think. It's still higher memory usage though, right? If I didn't care about memory usage, I'd probably go with Gleam. It sucks that it has no macros. Like if Gleam had macros and I could somehow put leptos on Gleam, or I could write leptos in Gleam with macros, right? But of course, everyone's like, oh, macros, like that's terrible. And the Gleam person is like against macros. Like, so instead what you get is this, right? You go to Gleam Luster, right? I mean, like from a practical standpoint, right? Where are we? Where's Luster? Okay, so like instead what you get is this, right? You get this you get this no HTML, right? Like I don't want templating because I don't want a separate templating language. But instead what you get is this like this. You get this, right? Which is fine. Some people like this, right? That's fine. But yeah, I mean, even Go is kind of not really like from this aspect. Like this is just one aspect, but it is a important one, I think. Because I think, what is this? Why is this so like pixely? Why is this so big? Oh, okay, here we go. Yeah, so like this, like from a this is a little better. I mean, of course, it's like a totally different language, and you have to write .temple files, so you're not actually in a Go file, right? But yeah. I mean, proc macros, like, it's good. Tap it, what's up? But for crazy concurrency, the beam wins. Yeah. No, it does win. And I think the idea that, like, it's all gonna fail is a little pessimistic, but I mean, it's definitely, like, it's true. Like, it is all gonna fail. But the Rust way gives you less memory. That's like the only thing that, like, is kind of keeping me in Rust, is like I get like insane performance and like really low memory usage. And honestly, like, I just write better code. Like Rust Analyzer just makes me a better programmer because I don't always dot my like I's and cross my T's. But Rust is like, no, you need to go the extra mile, you know, or go the extra a little bit. Compare Elixir and yes, both are a lot higher than Rust, but Rails is going to be way worse. Yeah, Rails is horrible. Rails is going to be way worse at everything. It's so true. Look, Ryan Winchester, did you see? So Rails 3, they're trying to do some actor stuff, right? But it's like it's so mid. Like, I'm just like, dang, just admit defeat and go to the beam, okay? Just you've done it worse, right? Like. The guy who's the guy who made Elixir, he left from Rails and made Elixir because he was like, the beam is better in every way, and he was correct, right? LSP and Rust are probably the best out there. 100%. I write Rust because it's base. We are not the same. That's true though. Look, I also write Rust because it's based. I want to find a good actor model in Rust. Jose Valim, right? Yeah. No, yeah. We should. You know, he said we should. We should do that. That would be sick. Honestly, with an actor model in Rust, that would be kind of cool. But in the meantime, I think stuff like thread per core is much better, right, than Tokyo. I think Tokyo was like the first thing, and it kind of stuck, but like it's not great. Okay, so what was I doing? Oh yeah. Okay, so the idea of a statically typed. Okay, wait. What am I doing? Oh my gosh, how much time do I have? Oh, I've got 3 minutes. Okay, let's just look at this thing. The idea of a statically typed view tree similar to Swift UI is just so perfectly suited to Rust and the way its trait composition works that it blew my mind. Xylem is built on a trait with build and rebuild functions. Oh, that's what I said. And an associated state type. Yeah. That reigns in state. Here's an example. Right, so like here's like the thing, right? Impl render, you have like a type that's a state, right? And then it's apparently some kind of text type or something. And so you have this, here's your build thing. Oh, it's a trait for every type. And then, so this is like a text node. Interesting. Oh, that's what text is, a text node. And then you rebuild, right? And so you pass the state in. And then if the state is different, then you set the data. And that's it, right? And then like, here's a tuple example, right? The tuple, we need to have a seek macro that loops over this to make it 128 tuples. So we can impl for 128 tuples. Okay, so let me see. Yeah. Okay, so it's the same, right? You just call the thing for each of the tuples. No, I get it. If I don't get it, it's okay. No, I understand. You just haven't spent as much time mucking around in the renderer as I have. I understand it. I get it. Building this all up through trait composition and through the composition of smaller parts is freaking amazing. It is amazing. It's true. But the use of component grain reactivity is just fundamentally uninteresting to me. Component grain reactivity. Oh, right. I played around with the Xylem-like renderer and finished with mixed results. I was able to create a really tiny framework with an Elm state architecture and a very small WASM binary. Yes. But when I tried to build something based on leptos reactivity, very similar to binary size performance, not worth a rewrite. Then it hit me. The fundamental problem with 0.0 was that when we were walking the DOM, we were generating that DOM walk in a proc macro. We didn't know anything about the types of the view, but if we use trait composition, we do. Oh, that's it. That is interesting. I hadn't thought to, you know what? That is interesting because if you look at like include SQL, which I kind of ripped off of in my latest rewrite of Ride's DB macro. Yeah, if you look at this is exactly what it does, right? So you write SQL in a SQL file, and then you call your include SQL stuff. This is like the SQL, but for Rust. And then you call this macro, and it reads the file at compile time. And then from here, it impulls a trait for RU-SQLite's connection, right? Or Postgres's connection, or MySQL's. And then from here, it makes the function. So like here, loan books, right? Loan books is here. Loan books is here, right? So like it grabs it from comments in your SQL, and it puts it into a trait. So like here, yeah. So after parsing and validating the content of the SQL file, it makes this thing, but even this is like not, this is what it is, right? It makes this trait. And so if you use traits, if you generate traits, that is interesting. But if we use trait composition, we do. Using traits means that we could write the whole render in plain Rust with almost nothing in the view macro except a very simple expansion, which is kind of how macros should be. Like we shouldn't be doing, like I include SQL where you're reading stuff where you're reading things from the file system in a macro, or SQLX where you're like connecting to a database in a macro. I'm not super convinced that's like a good idea. I think macros should only be tokens in, tokens out. Like there should be no touching of the file system, no like none of this craziness, right? And we can drive the hydration walk by doing it at a time when we actually understand what types we're dealing with. Only advancing the cursor when we hit actual text or an actual element. I don't actually understand this part, but sure. Let's see. Okay, so here's an example, right? So we got a trait render HTML for stir, to HTML. Oh, is this his build and rebuild? Okay, so this is build and rebuild, right? Buff, mute string. Okay, classic. Position. Oh, this is new for me. I haven't position state. Add a comment node to separate from previous sibling, if any. If matches, position get, position next child, position last child. Buff, push, stir. Okay. Okay. Hydrate. I don't know what this is, but I don't actually know what this. I've never seen this before. Cursor. Okay. Oh, here's the cursor he's talking about. Okay. If position, first child, cursor child, otherwise sibling, node cursor current. Okay. Wow, the music got really, and I got really calm too. Can we skip? There we go. Okay, that's a little better. All right, I don't know what this is. This is crazy. Let me see. Act is supposed to be an actor model. I think it was. Ruby managed to have worse perf than Python, which is a feat in itself. I will say that Ruby, like no one who uses Ruby cares about perf. So like that's definitely, Toki uses thread per core to run tasks. Yeah, but it's work stealing though, right? It can go across, you can theoretically go across cores, right? Actor model solves the issue of send sync. Yeah, but then you have to think in the actor model, right? You don't just like write code like normal. That's my only complaint. For embedded, that influence guy is pretty cool. Macros being less of a black box is always a good thing. Yeah, also true. Unless you call the function func true. Oh, I see. I've never seen this. I've never done that. I never thought to do it, I guess, right? But I guess like, this is the idea is that if it's on the server, you want to say, okay, don't do the hydration, right? Some other stuff that's not important. So yeah, I think I understand this. Like, if you're at a position of the first child, then you move the cursor to that child. Otherwise, you're in like a sibling. Oh, I see. Otherwise, you're next, right? I see. Okay. Otherwise, you're in another node, right? So this is like basically recursion, right? But like with a cursor, which I had not considered that as well. This might actually. Oh, I see. So then you don't have to worry about like blowing the stack at all. You just have this cursor. Yeah, I'm learning so much stuff. Again, if it's not clear why this is amazing, no worries. Let me think about that. Let me think about that. But it's really, really good. It's also possible to make the view rendering library generic over the rendering layer. Unlocking universal rendering or custom renderers. The info is Bleacher Report rewrite from Rails to Elixir. And they went from 100 to 5 and said it was over provisioned. Yeah. Okay. Scale Rails, you just burn money. Yeah, but a lot of people who use Rails though, they don't care. Like they're just like DHH's whole argument is always programmers are more expensive than hardware, right? Which is funny because then this always happens. Like I'll be like learning about somebody and like their opinions and their how they think about the world, and they're totally like weird. Like they'll go one way and then they'll go another way entirely. So if he didn't care about cost, he wouldn't have got out of the cloud, right? So I'm just like, why would you say that just Rails doesn't like the speed doesn't matter, programmer time is worth more than compute time and all this stuff, right? Twitch really blurred out Rails U. Did they really? Is that true? Yeah. So it's like, what do you care about, DHH? Do you care about cost or do you not care about cost, right? So it's like you're out of the cloud because you care about cost for compute, but you're using Rails. It boggles the mind. Like I'm like, if you spent all this time getting out of the cloud, right, and writing Kamal, it's like, what are we doing here, right? DHH just thinks he has solutions for everything. Yeah, that could also be it. All right, who should I raid? Who should we raid? I gotta get out of here. Who should we raid? I think we reached the end of this pretty much, right? Yeah. Oh, maybe we'll get to the end. Possible big view, blah blah blah. Okay, so I think we reached the end of this leptos thing, and I think the idea of this is like a better islands, right? Because Greg Johnston reached islands as like in his thought process, and he goes, oh, we can do this simpler. So islands like is good because everything's rendered on the server by default, and you have little bits of WASM that you like put in your thing, which is I'm into because now Dioxys is by default, all this client-side rendering stuff is like always render on the client and sometimes call the server, but I think it should have always been the opposite, which is like the HTMX way as well. But islands is a little better even. Because if you look at Leptos' island, because this whole stream I wanted to talk about islands, but I didn't even show what it was. We didn't even talk about it. I just talked about this rendering thing. Let's see. Islands, right? If you look at this islands thing, all right. So like here's an example, right? So you have a component, it's a function, it's a Rust function. It returns whatever that is. And so you have this like signal, right? It has some state, right? On click, you do something, right? And you've got the view macro that he's talking about. You've got button on click, blah, 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 right? It like updates the count, right? Okay. So now if instead you can add island, right? So here is component, right? Here is island, right? And so now you can, so this doesn't do anything. This actually does nothing. It has a button, but nothing happens, right? Because it's just HTML, right? But this one does something, right? But the cool part is not just that. The cool part is this. This is when islands sort of clicked for me, and I was like, oh, now I get it, right? So instead, it makes more sense to separate out the thing that is interactive, right? So here before, we had it all in one bit of HTML, right? This H1 and this button and all this. But instead what you can do is you can take away that stuff and put it in its own thing. So now you have a server rendered thing and you have the interactive part itself, right? Like completely standalone. And then you can render. And now this enables you to do something even crazier, which is exactly what I was like. I wanted this, right? I was like, oh, okay, now we're getting somewhere, right? So now you can pass server stuff to your interactive stuff like really easily. So like here is like a tabs, and it takes a vec of strings, right? And so then this is all on the client, right? Well, it's on the server and the client, but it renders initially on the server and then it like does the thing, right? So anyway, ignore all that. So like here is the same homepage component, right? And now you have like your vec, right? And you've like done the whatever, you've done some stupid Rust stuff. And then, so now you can pass in. So like you can imagine instead of these two things, this could be a database call. And now you could just pass it in as like the initial state, right? And like this, that is like, now we have statelessness and we have like an easy way to pass data back and forth, or at least forward to the client, right? And the client could just come back and be like, oh, well, we'll just do server functions, right? So like it's like the circle of life, right? It's like we've got server rendered stuff, and then we pass it to the client really easily. It serializes automatically, blah, 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 blah. This is effectively auto HTMX, right? Like this is what he's describing, right? So like here's what the HTML looks like, right? So it serializes the Rust struct to JSON automatically. I didn't have to think about this. I didn't have to do anything. It just did it, right? So you're manually doing this in HTMX, right? You're like manually like HX, like blah, 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 like serializing things. It's like, well, we don't have to do that anymore, right? So this is, I want this. Like I need to have this in Ride. And the only thing I think I would change is probably, instead of the idea, like what island makes no sense, right? Like as a word, it doesn't mean anything. So I would only change it to like front end, right? I would say like front end, back end, right? Easy. Cause that's what we say, right? So yeah, this is sick. Like I really like this. So like here, there's like more stuff they're doing, but that's the idea, right? So like this is also, you got to import for iter, man. You can't just do collect view. Come on now, come on. Yeah. So is this a dumb example? Yes. Okay. But yeah, that's the idea, right? So the idea is that you can take your database stuff and like pass it easily, serialize it into the thing. And the JS people have done this too, but it's like awkward and horrible. And the Rust people are doing it better, right? That's the whole thing I want you to take away from the stream. All right, who should we raid for real? What are we doing here? Oblivion? That's a great question. I have no idea. Let's see. Leptos seems decent. I love me some HTML templating. Look, that's why I switched. Okay, I had Ride using my whole like tuple, but yeah, I switched. In React, they have use client and use server. Yeah, I know. But it's like stringly, and it's like not good. This is like a proc macro, right? It's very solid, you know? It feels very solid. How's this different than RSC? No Demon, I have no idea. I've never used RSC. I understood nothing, but I'm somehow convinced to stick JavaScript for web stuff. No, Sabbath, no. So yeah, like I'm not gonna sit here and try to convince you, but yeah, I mean it is similar to RSC, I guess, but it's like more integrated, maybe. Maybe it's more integrated. I don't know. But yeah, the HTMX way is also good. I'm just deciding what I want to do with Ride, right? Like, how do I want to solve this problem? Because I've been building some stuff with Ride, and I don't actually, I feel like it's still weird. And so I've like tried to get away from like the string stuff. So like, that's why I have this like router macro, and I like actually look through all of these. And so now if I go GR on this, I can like see where get slash is used, right? And so I'm trying to like get away from the strings, but it's still just pointers everywhere. And I don't know if like pointers everywhere is actually good. I think this is a little better. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it is RSCs. I have no clue. All right. So who should I raid for real? I gotta raid somebody. Let's see. What is this song? It's horrible. I hate it. Let's see who's on here. Pirate Software. Pirate Software has 10K viewers. Are you serious right now? That's insane. Maybe I should get into game dev, you know? Maybe that's the thing I should do instead of web, right? No one cares about the web. Let me see. Bald Bearded Builder and Best Dev. Man, Friday mornings are kind of slow, huh? Is that slow? Maybe I should raid. This is game dev, Lana Lux. Who would you watch? Pointers everywhere is actually a dance move. It's true. Game dev is nice for streaming and YouTube stuff. Yeah, that's true. That is true. Because it's more visual, right? Let's do what is that? Who is Bald Bearded Builder? Let's see. Why is it so blurry? Is it blurry to just me? Is it coming into focus? Like, oh shoot. It's an ad. It came out of nowhere. It came out of nowhere, but it's an ad. That was weird. That was super weird. I don't know. Who would you watch? What's this one? Urban camping. There's no one I actually like have met in real life that is on. Let's see who else is here. This is the Church of Golang. Okay, let's look at this person. Oh wow, look at this. There's some Can we hear this? Is that possible? MacBook Pro audio? Be nice if I could have it do the right thing. There we go. Is there no audio? I can't tell if there's audio here. Let's see. Okay. No, it's definitely just me. Oh, it looks like it's okay. It should be okay anyway. I don't know why I don't have audio. Oh well. Yeah, this looks not great. I don't know. Who would you guys do? Oh, here we go. Perfect. Twitch's new censorship. I wish I could actually hear it though. Let's see. Let's debug my audio real quick because it's really bugging me. Sorry, everyone can jump. I'm just gonna debug this. Oh man, Theo's talking about the next the Vercel thing. Dude, I wish I could actually get this to work. Let's see. Let's go to MIDI. Let's go to here, black hole. Let's look. Multi-output device. Oh.
Here I am on my day off.
There we go.
Video, so I can go
there we go.
Before we go any further, though, I want to be very, very clear. This video is not sponsored. I'm not being paid to make this.
Okay, let's read this person.
Content pretty regularly, but this is my genuine thoughts and beliefs about what happened here. No money has been exchanged. They have not seen this video ahead of time. They have no opportunity.
Oh shoot. Okay. Wow. He's really he still can't hear it. No. Yeah. Next already has 15. I haven't even used 24. I 14. Yeah. I have no idea what's going on. Wait. Does he speak English? Oh, are we gonna do French? should we do French stuff? Heck yeah! I don't even know what that means. Let's rate a French streamer. Dej V 44.
Hello, Peter.
Appreciate it. Thank you. All right. See you guys later. We're going to France. We're going to Paris.